الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم ربنا تقبل منا صلاتنا وصيامنا يا مولانا. اللهم إنا نسألك العفو والعافية في الدين والدنيا والآخرة. اللهم إنا نسألك الرضا والتقى والعفا والغنى يا مولانا. وَعْفُ عَنَّا يَا كَرِيمٌ وَعْفُ عَنَّا يَا رَحِيمٌ. Inshallah, tonight we're going to talk about a few other nations that are mentioned in the verses of the Quran in Surah Qāf. Where Allah Jalla Jalaluhu says, وَفِرْعَوْنُ وَإِخْوَانُ لُوطٍ وَأَصْحَابُ الْأَيْكَةِ وَقَوْمُ تُبَّعٍ وَأَصْحَابُ الْأَيْكَةِ وَقَوْمُ تُبَّعٍ. So today we're going to focus on أصحاب الأيكة and also قوم تبع. أصحاب الأيكة in the Arabic language, when you say أيكة, it stands for a tree, شجرة, tree. These are the people called in the Quran أصحاب الأيكة, the people of the tree, for one reason, and that is that they used to worship this tree. كانوا يعبدون الشجرة. They used to worship this tree. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent to them a messenger in order to guide them to the straight path. They didn't hear the guidance, they rejected the guidance. Who is that prophet? What is another name for this nation? We're going to talk about it right now, inshallah. And then after that, Allah talks about the Qawm Tubba. Before we get to Tubba, let's go back to Aykah, Ashabul Aykah, the people of the tree. And scholars, they say, majority of them, they say, the historians as well, that Ashabul Aykah hum Madian. These are the people of Madian. And to Madian, Sayyidina Shu'aib alayhi salam was sent to them. Now, when it comes to where or the roots of Sayyidina Shu'aib alayhi salam, there are different opinions among the scholars, historians. Some of them, they say that he was a descendant of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, and some others, they say that he was the son of one of the daughters of Sayyidina Lut alayhi salam. Alright, the son of one of the daughters of Sayyidina Lut alayhi salam. But I believe in the Old Testament, when we look at the Old Testament, Torah and all of that, you will find that he is connected. They also have him. It is mentioned in their books as well, where Shu'aib alayhi salam comes from the family of Ibrahim. So it's a descendant of the family of Ibrahim. Many say that he was alive during the time of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. When Sayyidina Musa went to that, when he left Egypt and he escaped Pharaoh, he found these two sisters trying to get the water from the well, and it was hard on them, so he assisted them, he helped them, and he got the water for these two sisters. And the father of these two sisters was, according to some, was Sayyidina Shu'aib alayhi salam. So Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam was related to Sayyidina Shu'aib in a way that he was his father-in-law. Right? But again, I don't believe that this is the main approach of the Muslim historians, but let's leave it right there. Let's focus on what this nation used to do, Madian, and how did they receive the punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. First of all, Sayyidina Shu'aib alayhi salam, he is called the Khatibul Anbiya. Shu'aib alayhi salam, huwa Khatibul Anbiya. He used to speak so eloquent. And in the Quran, it mentions that when he came with a message, with a risala from Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, people, they refused him. And they told him that we find you da'if, we find you weak. But yet we know that he was the most eloquent. When it comes to the prophets, he is known as the one who is eloquent among the prophets. But yet people considered him as weak. And they went into such levels, and they told him that, or into such degrees where they told him, if you continue doing, as a matter of fact, we can think of even murdering you, killing you, eliminating you. That's how problematic it became during his lifetime and for the followers. Because if you're going to have now people who have strength in a society and they are threatening you to take your life away and to murder you and to persecute your followers and make it extremely hard for you to preach and all of that, then you're facing a very major challenge right there. So it's a real struggle that a messenger like Sayyidina Shu'aib alayhi salam had to go through, and just like Sayyidina Muhammad alayhi salatu salam, and also many others. So these people were known for some things that I'm going to mention right here, and for some wrongdoings, right? And among these wrongdoings, you have the first one, which is worshipping other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we mentioned the worship, the ibadah, was what? Worshipping the tree. That is shirk right there. And they say, the commentators, they say that this tree is it gets tall, and it was an amazing tree actually. It was a big tree where they had it there in Midian, and the branches, they start kind of curving, zigzagging. I've seen pictures of this, but again, it's very hard for me to describe that kind of a tree because it's really a rare tree. And by the way, Midian lived in the northern part of the Hijaz area, north of Medina. And even nowadays, there are the ruins of Midian in Saudi Arabia. So beside the worshipping other deities beside Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, al-kayla wal-mizan, it is mentioned in the Quran, that they used to cheat in measuring and also weighting items. When they would measure, right, when they would measure things, they would always cheat. When they would weight, they would also cheat. They were known for these. They were known for these tricks. They were known for the tricks. So this is eating something or gaining something that doesn't belong to you, taking it by force or taking something that is not yours. That's the nafs of the human being. And they used to give hard time to people who were weak or people who were poor in their own society where they lived. So al-kayl wal-mizan, it is also, as I said, mentioned in the Quran beside the worshipping the tree. And also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He talks about them in Surah Al-A'raf and in other places as well, He says that fasada, He mentions the word fasad. They used to cause a lot of corruption on earth. Fasad is corruption. Destroying something that Allah has created it in a natural way. You're destroying that. Or destroying people. Destroying lives of people. This is all a part of that fasad. Anything that is natural, anything that should be normally taken a certain path. Just like the water, for example, the river comes down through its own, it has its own place, it has its own line that it follows naturally from God. There are people who take that and they do things with it, and when they deform that line, when they try to do all that, then you start having problems because it has come out from that natural line that it was created, it was meant to be that way. So similarly, so you have overflowing, you have overflood, you have floods created by rivers and so on and so forth. So similarly, when you're also trying to disturb that natural way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created and commanded us to follow, you're causing what? You're causing fasad. So fasad, it doesn't mean only when you just literally destroy something. Right? It doesn't mean like there is a building and now let's just destroy the building. No. It's destroying anything that is meant to be in a natural way, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created and also recommended us to follow. No, you're not doing it. You are going against that. You are going through unnatural ways. and that is a fasad right there. That is a destruction, or sometimes it is translated as corruption. So causing much corruption on earth. What else? Taxing travelers and even robbing them. Taxing travelers on the highways and even robbing them. Some historians, they say that the nation of Aykah or Midian is the first, these are the first people who started taxing. Who started taxing people for using their roads, their highways. And nowadays, thanks to them and their followers, it has become all over the world. Everywhere you go, you have to pay taxes now. For using freeways, for using these tollways, for using, international roads, for everything. Yeah, even food, transporting and all of that stuff, thanks to their innovation. But not only tax though, it was not only tax, it was also robbing. That is the worst part right there. So they used to make it very, let's say, I don't know, I lived, even though I was a student in Turkey during those years in 1997, but I do remember when my father, Allah yarhamhu, Allah show mercy on him, he used to receive me at the airport when I would come in 1997. Our country back in Albania used to be, it used to have an unrest, almost civil war. But alhamdulillah, it didn't happen. But it was almost in the bridge. Many people lost their lives during that time and so on and so forth. Military places, they ended up being unsupervised. People, they would just go inside and start taking all AK-47s and, missile, what do they call them? The bazookas and all of that kind of stuff, They would start bringing them and selling them in the marketplaces. That's how horrible the situation was. So anyways, I'm mentioning this because I remember that there used to be some stress in him, especially when I used to come late at night from the airport, just come to visit, because I would come like twice a year from Istanbul to Albania. And I remember how hard it was for him to drive back, because of the stress that he was going through, knowing that on daily basis there are people in the highway who are stopping with a car. And it does happen in Mexico too often. Alhamdulillah, it never happened to us, through all the travels that we do. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, and we hope we keep it that way, inshallah. But you would probably hear stories like this, but this was so real back in Albania in 1997 and probably 1998, where you would have these people all of a sudden with AK-47, 2, 3, some young people, stupid people for sure. Sorry for using words like that, but they would just get their guns in front of them and they would just rob you completely. Take your car away, especially if you had a good car, take your car away and leave you right in the middle of the road. They had no souls. No mercy whatsoever. They would just leave you alive. And if you talk too much, probably they can just shoot you as well. And not only that, but they would even take anything that you had, money, everything. So you have nothing left. You have nothing left. You're in the middle of nowhere there, and you're in the hands of, in the hands of nature right there. We know it's in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but that's in there, So anyways, this is what they used to do. They used to cut the streets, the paths, and they used to just rob people like that. This is what people of Midian used to do. So you can see that they were involved in cheating when it comes to transactions. Fasad fil ard, doing so much corruption and destruction on earth. Cutting the highways, robbery, taxes, all of these. People they couldn't afford, they would just increase. Okay, so we need all of the money, whatever you had. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for sure, He had to guide them through a messenger, and that was Sayyidina Shu'aib alayhi salam. The thing is that they did not listen, and then they got the punishment from Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. What was their punishment? It was very strange punishment. It was dry, like they were so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent them dry weather, heat, but it was not just a normal heat, extreme heat. And many of them started dying because of the dry weather and extreme heat. People that were dying. Remember, no AC, none all of that stuff. So they started dying from the heat, extreme heat. And those who remained alive, they saw clouds being formed somewhere nearby their dwelling place. And they said, we have a chance to go over there and to protect ourselves against this heat. And they ran towards that place, towards where the cloud was. And then they felt that the weather was different in that place. So it was more cool. It was not as hot. And they thought that the rain is going to start. But instead of rain, flames were coming down to them. And all of those who ran over there and thought that this is the right place, that's where they got killed right there. Not only that, but they also have, according to some narrations, Angel Jibreel alayhi salam produced a scream that instantly when they heard that, they were just knocked out dead. So they were punished in that way, the nation of Madian. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always says in the Quran, often, you find this statement saying, هَلْ تَرَى لَهُم مِّن بَاقِيَةٍ. Do you see any remaining from them? Like all of this might, all of this power, all of this, where is it? They're all gone. So when he says this, فَهَلْ تَرَى لَهُم مِّن بَاقِيَةٍ, it is as he's saying, then what's the purpose of doing all of that? What's the purpose of causing so much fasad? What's the purpose of cheating? What's the purpose of, erecting these temples and worshipping other deities beside God and all of that? What's the purpose of robbing people and taxing people? Even in the Western world, we live in societies where people cannot even afford the high taxes. The high taxes, every year goes by, the taxes they raise and raise and raise. And every president who comes here in this country and other countries as well, what they do, one of the things that they promise is, we're going to lower your taxes. Maybe they lower their taxes in one way, but they throw their increase from another way. They leave you one way, but they get you on the other way. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from all of these calamities. These are really calamities. These are the footsteps. These people are following the footsteps of these other previous nations. So it is, as a matter of fact, it's a reminder. It's a reminder for every oppressor, for every person who causes destruction or corruption on earth, to reflect on these things. I said that today we would probably go into the story of Tubba, the nation of Tubba, but inshallah, since we want to respect your time and our time, we're going to leave it for hopefully not tomorrow. Tomorrow we have the fundraising, but inshallah after tomorrow. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه